Good morning, or whatever it is, wherever you are. I actually had the opportunity to run the GitHub action for the last game update, and the only problem was that I had not put the exclusion on it. Let's see, is that in... here? Yes. I actually used that in my other sync task, right? Yeah, and this one ended up putting it on both of them because we had accidentally put the stuff up there. And I still have the problem that I have to do something like this to, or rebuild locally. One of the two. Okay, so exclude sprite. Right underscore star. Alright, now the main problem. This is a very expensive job. They pretty much completely get the Docker image every time. We clone a repository, we run code that clones a repository. It actually processes everything on every run, even if there's no actual effective work to do. It seems impolite to do that on GitHub's infrastructure. And I don't think I actually took notes about the things we had discovered last time. So preserving data, kind of have that. You just download it from S3 again, but that's one of the expensive things. So we were looking at what can we do so we have test S3 and we have test... Is test version what we were using for that? Yeah, so I was doing something with last version number. Had I actually output that? Okay, so it's not part of this. That was, well, I guess I did want to figure out what it meant to, what it would do in the case where it didn't exist. So that should already be up there. And what was our problem? Okay, so our problem was that if the file doesn't exist, S3 command fails. Whereas we would want it to go ahead and continue to run things to actually end up creating that. Or to go ahead. So this might be a multi-steps where the job that does the work depends on the version check. One possible way we might do it. Either that or this job would run the other job in more of a manual fashion. Specified key does not exist. We could just ignore the status code. Maybe with some of these other things would then fail. So I had tried this, or maybe it was actually the exit. Actually, I don't know if it's true or false. Because, like, true would be passing, and false would be error, you would think, but that's different from the normal 0, 1. I kind of wish there was a thing that was like rerun the current version of this job. But I think it's the same version. Containers. Oh, I used that as a way to get S3. So I do still have that overhead. If it's only fetching a file, maybe I could use one of the other ones. Now, most of them upload. Okay, so we got that to succeed. And this was just like, hey, we got data. All right, load version, check out data. This was just, hey, we got the data. Get version number. Well, that's setting an output specifically, and then a report. Okay, so last version we expected to be blank. Steps data version we did not expect to be blank. How? Well, this is echo blah 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 blah. Does that mean that? No, it's actually showing the command. Oh, actually, I can see into this. Shell minus e 0. How can I? I wonder if I did just echo. Would it print it here? It's like this might get like specially recognized. All right, so how about read? Is this like double quoting? Because like we're evaluating that thing, which is itself the quote. Now, if I skipped the last version number part and just focused on this, I might be able to take out all the VM stuff. But we have to get that data from somewhere. Well, actually, you can just do like a HTTP get from... If you're just getting a file from S3, you can really just do a fetch, probably. And I wouldn't be surprised if they had curl on here. Yeah, okay. So no fetch file or directory. Yeah, now you see, this didn't print anything, which means this doesn't seem to be working. I guess I would run that without like the echo, and maybe we can get more information back from the Git. This is like overhead now. So this is like a bunch of fancy stuff. I guess if I change it, I can always just like reset or go back and... Or like, there's probably a way to get a particular version from Git. I don't know. Does Ubuntu let us install curl by default? So we've got actions checkout, we've got test download, this is why we need the container. Well, this we could at least sort of prototype locally. Assuming we have curl. I would need the public URL of it, though. Well, actually, that's just through the map, essentially. Could probably use the CDN. What is a file that actually exists? Objects.json. No such key. Oh, object. Okay. And then, what is it, minus output? Yes. So if we drop this, we could keep the bucket. No, actually, we don't need the bucket. Here, let's check this, because we had not found, what was it? Okay, it's not that. Bash last status code. Question. Of course, now that may have been the previous echo. That's 0. And if we do objects, it's 0. Okay. So that doesn't return an error code. Actually, I think I was going to do data version number for this. And minus O, last version number. So we do expect this part to fail, but that gets rid of this prerequisite up here. And then, what if we just run this? Does that even work? Yeah, we did a whole bunch of stuff here. There we go. Okay, so yeah, much faster startup. Read last version number. Okay, well, that's maybe not great, because it does give a response. And so it just not match. This seems wrong. There we go. Yeah, it says it ran it, but there's no output. Oh, I'm probably not in the right directory. This has to be done inside the repository. Now, there's probably a way to specify the repository separately. I wonder if that's a general thing or if that's in the documentation for this command. No, that might be a general thing. So that would be like top level. Guides. Plumbing commands. Setup and config. I just need the actual Git. Okay. Version. Well, there's C something. There's Gitter. There's Worktree. Oh, current started in path instead of current directory. The option equivalent. Get dir equals blah. Work tree equals blah. Current directory equals C. Get dir equals C. C. So really C is what we would use for this, because I think it checks out... Actually, doesn't the checkout thing, like, set your directory? Well, I did a file ls, right? As one of the commands. File report, where are we? Yeah, there's process public. One life data 7. So that seems to be the working directory. Having done this. Okay. Maybe it didn't fetch the tags? Wasn't there multi-line... runs? Or was I explicitly new lining that? I guess I was explicitly new or ending that. So we want something like get status and get tags. Now the file report. Epic Cursory, hello. How's it going? I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right. You got a few syllables there. Epic. Okay, that works. That's providing some feedback, but I don't think I need it right now. It is less than great indentation. Alright, where the heck are we running here? Okay, so that just outright failed. Oh, it's git tag. Okay, runner, yeah, so it did kind of change into, so it's like runner for this thing, and then we checked it out. Did I get the status command? Okay, so this must be status. Yeah, that was the output from that. Have you messed with GitHub Actions at all? Okay. Git test. Branch actions up to date. Untracked files. One tech. It looks like we're not checking out tags at all. Is that a thing I can do? Actually, I might need to have a different checkout command for this particular type of thing. Let's do search. I need the tags, and I might need the versions referenced. Oh no, wait. This is in the data repository. So we do have to care which version we're in. I probably have no tags in this one. So this would be git minus C. And then, of course, we have to see if we can actually complete this command, because I think by default it doesn't check out all commits. To date with origin master. Okay. Now you see, this is, well, that's PWD. PWD is still right. Origin mask doesn't return, oh, but yeah, but it's master, not actions. And we got no tags. So what are we using to check out? Yeah, repository path. We got that. We need tags and things. If only I knew what the latest was. Fetch depth. It's like we don't technically need everything, but we might have to be able to reference. Because I think that if we process, yeah, I don't know if the ref for each will work without the full history. Okay. Oh, and then do a specific checkout. Check out a different branch with ref. Check out multiple repos. I basically just straight up git command here. Or I use that to, well, normally it's fetch minus tags. And the thing I was using to overwrite tags was something that was a command that just fetched the tags. Nope, I actually didn't want to do that. Well, I guess it would make it easier to be in the same thing. I was just concerned about directories and stuff. So that fetches all the tags. I think that this also fetches all the tags. So that checks out data. We need to fetch tags, which is a simple run. I wonder if any of these questions are relevant to me. Now you see, I'm not really done with this yet. I don't know if I can fully evaluate it. Okay, well, it's actually done. Okay, fetch tags, new tag. We printed a bunch of tags. Now all of this stuff, now that we've gotten that much sorted out, git test. All right, we know we're gonna have to do this for all of these, even though we're not fully done yet. I think some of these, well, that's the output, not to a file. And it's something that's working there, but all right, read data version number 353. Hash.sh not found. Okay, so we've got a problem there. This thing, just run by itself, does print this. And this is where I was kind of curious about this, like, sort of like double escape here. Because this is obviously something a little bit wrong. And then we don't actually get this stuff set. So I'm not sure that we actually need both of those. This was originally doing, I copied this from like some other kind of command. So maybe the backticks and that do similar things. Yeah, I didn't notice you could search. Check out data. Okay, it's not an error. We didn't get in a report though. Now I don't know if it's specifically trying to capture the set output thing, so this is where we're back to testing here. So this actually does print. Does it do so with an echo? Well, I'm assuming these commands are actually the same. Started negative 27 seconds ago, really. echo 353, but get version number. Well, I guess I could be messing up the output format here. But this is data version. They say it's steps ID version. I guess I don't actually do that. I guess I don't necessarily have to use dashes here. Could use something that's last. Oh, I never. That's just cat the file, which actually that should be printing. This well this should actually be printing the contents of that file. So yeah, this quoting syntax is messed up here even, and that's a simple cat. Now maybe this like includes spaces in it or something, but yeah, that shouldn't care about spaces. Maybe there's other escape characters in there? I may have to review this. I might have gotten something wrong in how we do interpolation. This is actually not printing, right? No, read is, but get version number. Now, why is it saying shell bin bash minus e? That's in the expansion. This does the same thing, but then it prints a result. It might say, oh, well, this is a capture, so we're not going to print it. That's the thing I don't know. Okay, so capture test. We do kind of want this too, don't we? Set output name. Steps.capture.bar. Yep. Is there really nothing there? Okay, there we go. Yeah, this doesn't have anything here. So, and you see, I'd say it was capturing this. So obviously my syntax on carrying over variables is incorrect. Creating and storing using environment. No, that's not really it. Caching and artifacts, caching dependencies. Reference, workflow syntax. Context and expression syntax. And then they're documenting all this stuff. Well, I guess that would be steps, right? Would have to be an object. Steps dot. Oh, let me guess. It has to be dot outputs, and that's what I missed. Yeah, that's not looking much better. Oh, no, it was named foo. The value was bar. How are you doing? Okay, so there is the garbage for that. And there is our current version number. So those will not match, so we would go ahead and run it if they didn't match. And now we just have to figure out how to make that comparison. Load version number. Check out OneTech, test download. This is a last version download. Read the version number. This is just testing it. Load it. Check out the data. Fetch the tags. Okay, so just read it. So now we actually get it. You can actually put stuff in there. How do we compare text files for differences? I really only care about equal. I guess it's strings. What do I do with that though? Because I need there was something that you could use. It's like an if. Well, Is that metadata syntax or is that workflow syntax? Jobs.jobid.if. You use an expression in an if condition, you may omit the expression syntax, automatically evaluates the if conditional as an expression. That's steps. If expression. Uses action if expression. So this would come down to the expression syntax and what its operators support. Equal, and if this is in expression context, so we're going to do an individual step that way. This is jobs in this workflow. So what do we have in job? Current status of the job. Can I... Well, actually, we know that returning a false would make a step fail, which I think would make the job fail. I mean, maybe that's still useful. Let's see. Yeah, if they're equal, we don't need to run the other process. And then we have the other job depend on this one. Now, I think to have interdependencies, they're going to have to be in the same file. It's jobs, test. Yeah, the container thing was here. Okay, so test got skipped. But they should definitely not be equal. Okay. Maybe. It said it did that in expression. Ifs were automatically escaped. I don't know if it's actually seeing that as its thing. So it's seeing that and it's interpreting No, they are not equal, so skip the step. Oh no, if they are equal, return false, we don't need to run. So this thing, actually this thing's success means go ahead and run the other job. Now is there any kind of events that trigger workflows? Fires and runs, variables and secrets. Continuous integration. Yeah. Actions. Yeah, nothing really covers dependencies directly. Managing workflow files and runs. Workflow file, jobs build. Choosing a runner, build matrix. Type of actions for your workflow. Referencing actions. Oh, these actions. Oh, that's right. If you just need to do a custom action, you just build it in your repo. Workflows, actions. So that could be an option for some steps, but I said I don't see a big advantage versus just putting it in there at this point. Oh, that's the tags. Now, where is? Because there's another way to do dependencies. Needs must be complete successfully before the job will run. So the jobs are going to have to be in the same workflow. Job fails. All the jobs that need it are skipped unless the job is a conditional statement that causes the job to continue. Such as what? Okay, there's a job if. Any supported context and expression. So job expressions. Well, it's not going to be steps because steps are probably within that job, right? And we're back to context. So I guess we move this up. So this is going to be the job. Test. And then the job build. Oh, I don't, wait a minute. We don't actually put out last version or data version number yet. So we need this command, well, not in the file. that actually outputs a file. So instead of doing this, it's going to need to output the file. We don't necessarily want to test it right now. We want to be able to run it. And the test, I guess the test could be a problem if I needed to force a run at some point. So upload static, process the data. Well, actually, no. Yeah, we want to result in this text. Well, that's said, so it's already resulting in that text. And then output that to... And... where are we operating? Copy minus R, public, public. That means we're down at, yeah, CD process, process. We need to put this into public. No, actually we need to put this into public static. Because that's what we're ultimately going to sync. Public static. I mean, I guess we could put the test in. I might have to, like, take it out or take the conditional out or something. Okay, build. Job build. Is that it? Name, okay. Okay, so you can have a different label than the internal symbol. Needs job 1. It'd be kind of nice if, well, I guess I could always just copy pasta if I wanted one I could guarantee to run for a manual update. Okay, so it skipped that, so it succeeded, and then it went into build. Which has all the expensive overhead. Oh, that's right. The command I copied had verbose in it. Might actually be a little bit more useful without that. That was kind of interesting to see where it was downloading things. That's going to run for a little while. Maybe it wasn't verbose precisely. That was the only one I used? Nope, it was not. I guess I could have actually recorded the last commit hash. It would run whenever he did work in progress updates that I'm not processing. But that would have avoided some of the tags and stuff. Okay, so our upload should have done data version number. And as long as we changed it, we might as well upload. So I'm going to run it again to see if that tests correctly. I guess that's going to make it constantly show up as failed runs. That might be a little bit annoying. Maybe there's a better method to do that. Okay, yeah, test failed, build. So that's showing up as mixed. That's showing up as failed. Let's see, is there a better way to skip a job? Running GitHub actions sequentially. Yeah, these are all the standard documents we're already looking at. This might be UI stuff. Yeah. Configuring a workflow. New name of the workflow triggers event name dot type publish created. Okay, yeah. Link branches and tags. Schedules might be where that's headed. Default settings that will apply to all jobs. Jobs, job ID, name needs, runs on type. Job outputs. Outputs, output 1, steps, aha. So a job output, needs.job1. So does job have an if? Job.if. So that would make it not look like a failure. So job outputs, and this is listed here before the steps, so that's fine. Should be fine. But now is where we have to actually do, well, we've got an if here. So really we don't need this per se. It would be needs dot name dot outputs dot I could have it output the version numbers. And then it could do its own comparison. Changed. Of course, the expression is currently equal. And we want that job to be like if different. So now we need constant expression syntax. Operators. Okay, it is not equal. So we set up the needs. That job won't fail now. This is not directly doing if. Needs test if. Needs context, the result, successfully canceled. Needs job 1, outputs, steps.matrix.outputs.matrix. The project to config, matrix from JSON. Well, I mean, this has the basic thing. So if jobs.needs, no, needs is its own thing. Needs dot test dot outputs dot different. Oh, we went into mobile mode. Aww. Okay, that does not seem to work. At least not how I've done it. Set output different. Steps.last version, steps.data version. We know that that worked for a step test. It does not seem to work for a job test. Maybe I need to specifically check that against something? Okay, well, I guess we need to do a little bit of... I guess I do need to kind of go back to directly outputting these. And maybe testing them. But this will at least make it very... yeah, that'll work. Very clear if we are getting data between the jobs. So steps. Run. Echo needs.tests.outputs. Actually, what can you do all of outputs? I think I saw something about that. Job dot. Actually, this is needs. It's not well explained here. When I thought I saw some kind of example that was like, here, you could use all of them. Maybe that was some other group of things. And can we see what needs.tests.outputs.different is? And you know what? I really don't need to do the rest of this. There'll still be some overhead, but we just don't actually need to do it. I guess I could set up another, like, go back to my test thing and do a little toy follow job on it. Yeah, because like, I don't know if I could just like GitHub API the latest SHA of a repo and use that for the test. Yeah, we still got this. Okay, so that fails. Oh! It set it to the text. They said you don't need to unquote. Now, ifs don't need to unquote. Also, yeah, okay, so it doesn't evaluate this. Let me go back and double check the examples to see if they're doing anything similar. Like, does it have to be an echo or... Okay, yeah, I missed this. It's like I don't even technically need these anymore. I guess it could be handy for debugging. So that's the thing about like the ifs having the automatic eval. You start to get to this situation where some things are automatic and some things aren't, and you're not quite sure what to do. Okay. And then build is running. Yeah, it passed the test. So it evaluates, it gives us, I don't know if that's printing it or what. So if tests, at least in steps, maybe not jobs. So we could try expression syntaxing it, but it might be that in the conversion to a output, it like stringified it. Now, supposedly this entire thing is in... I should be probably doing it around operators. Oh, there was a literals. Boolean. Okay, so literal value true or false. Maybe it got stringified in doing this, in which case might have to compare it to a string. But that is definitely possibly the string false. You know that it's like this is what we're supposed to be testing, but it would be more maybe straightforward to just do this at the other stage than messing around with what the data type of this comparison is. Oh, there's Laz version. Needs.test.outputs.blah. And then build was skipped. The just check was skipped. The overall job counts as a success. We actually have to make the job run when it... Now, what we didn't do with all of this is see that it will actually run when things update. So I'm going to have to maybe wait a week for that, unless we go mess with can we grab... well, if it's GitHub API, I don't know if there's public access to... or if like read-only things require keys. Or if you still need a key just to fetch information. Authentication. Requests that require authentication. Well, let's see. Current version. That's the version of the API. Okay, this is overall. Activity checks. Get data. Blobs, commits, references, tags, trees. Or is this more of a repository thing? Branches. Well, this would be the master branch of anything of interest, essentially. List branches, get a branch. Get status checks. Protection. I guess get a branch. So we would have to do some JSON stuff. You know, get master extract commit.sha. The other thing we have to be careful of is that where is the process of updating one tech going to change the current pointer? So you'd have to come up with something that got you the SHA specifically of master to say, okay, this is what we processed. No. And that's other stuff we need. Explicitly request this versioning accept header. API.github. API.github.com. Repos. Roher. Branches master. Okay, so step 1, not found. Oh, owner repo, we missed that. Okay, now I think I saw somewhere in an example that they had some sort of like JSON query tool. Not here. REST API. REST API. Well, that's just going to have to be attested, I guess. So with this working, I guess we could go back to like the whole test version. Test version thing. So I just need to check out anything at this point. Doing a complete version would actually sort of involve some of that. Actually, I don't even... Do we even need this for that? What do you need from there? I don't think you do. That's down in the build section. Oh, I haven't actually set up this thing to schedule. Well, I might be more comfortable running it manually. Oh, it sort of does. Because we put it in process. Since we specify a path, this probably... won't CD into it? Maybe if you set a repository, it doesn't CD into it. I guess this stuff I also could have worked out in testing the other version. Okay, that's working okay. Well, and then build gets skipped. Okay, cool. So we don't need that. We will kind of be using that. We want to see if we can skip all this stuff. So we want to do... Oh, this will end up changing though, because it'll be a commit. So the test will run faster, but it will run on every data update. They'll do the really expensive stuff on every data update. Well, here's another silly question. Well, this is branches specifically. Get data? Repos owner. Get tags. Get a tag. Create a tag object. Okay, they don't necessarily have a way to list tags. Yeah, because you've got branches. It's not the place you'd expect it to. Right, because tags are refs. List matching references. Oh. So I could use that to do the find ref search for this type of version thing. And then we're into this possible jQuery or JSON query stuff. Oh, you see, this is going to be refs heads. So I have to find it in that, extract the version number. Yeah. It'd be a lot of work to streamline that. Okay, so you're there. I can manually test that at the next update, and if that goes well, then I can look into the timer syntax, which I guess we could try to get that set up. No, she is going to be like workflow reference, right? On push pull. If I could do that for somebody else's repository, it'd be beautiful. On schedule. All right, so this is probably every 15 minutes. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Minute. Hour. Day of month, month, day of week. Derived from cognitive attention. Probably. I don't know the science on that, but I have experience with some light fasting in the past, and it got kind of subdued. I know some people who like to do regular fasting to try and like improve overall health. 20% glucose. Ah. So we don't want to go every 15 minutes. We want maybe... Any value at particular values, range of values, runs every 15 minutes starting from minute 20 through 59. So I think I would say, like, to do once an hour, we would say at 0. Well, it would be hour minute. Every hour of every day of every month of every weekday. That doesn't need to be every hour. So that would be on the hour of... I don't know, every 4 hours would probably get us well enough. Well, it's not a cron job, but it is a scheduled run. Every 4 hours. Yep, 0 divided by 4. That's the non-standard ones. So once we're confident... Well, I would like to do it whenever the One Life Data 7 repository changes, but you can't really do hooks into somebody else's repository. So this just needs, when there is a new version, this needs to run approximately in less than 24 hours to have the map data updated before maps get published. Occasionally there are crashes or issues that cause stuff to get issued early. But I figure, 4 hours will give us a few attempts before we would normally need it. And maybe I could throw a random number in here just so that, because like you could imagine lots of scheduled things kicking off on the hour. Like right now, that clock says it's currently 33 past. That's reasonably random. I mean, it's close to people doing stuff on the half hour, but offset it a little bit. And then that might be good for a little bit. So the other thing I had is I've got the client build, which once again are mostly depending on JSON stuff. If I attach them to the patch repo, then we could try and get it to run anytime that I updated that repo. I could even manually trigger by just, well, I'd have to push some nonsense commit. I mean, I guess I'd do diff updates. But I'd have to tag it to actually issue a new version. So that's probably where we'd want to work that. Because certainly when I update, we might want to do a new build. Oh, and actually I forgot that I actually do need to do a new build, so I guess it was a minor thing, so maybe we can do it through this. Patch the master. I want this around for examples. So what are we going to do here? We need to get... Well, this build process is currently no held Docker. Which is, say, one tech Docker. Oh, I actually started making some of this before I started doing some research on this. And there are other options that might be options to doing this. I've done one thing on GitHub Actions, but it's like something I'm already using. So we can continue to see how it works out for this case, and then maybe see how other things would compare. Too much stuff. I got repository checkouts here. Windows client. So this is going to be a pretty peculiar environment. So we're probably going to have to do custom Docker file again. And this, but it's not. I think that their environment won't necessarily run a Docker file command. I'm also not sure if there'd be any issues with the paths I've chosen in that environment. But I guess I could put all the build scripts into the Docker image. It's just a command that gets run in that machine. Oh, I guess in that environment, you could use GitHub Action for the checkouts instead of the fetch latest tagged, except that that's like you just have to do a bunch of syntactic changes on things, and the git commands will probably still run fine. Maybe they've streamlined something in the checkout action. Oh, yeah, this was originally built around getting the repository from the context, so you didn't have to reclone it every time. One of the things GitHub tends to do is they by default get only the surface stuff, or the most recent changes. But this goes and checks out a specific version. Because it was the fetch scripts were originally built assuming that we had the entire history. Well, I guess that's kind of what the one tech update ends up doing too. So it actually is going through history. We just might need to check out a particular recent commit. All right, I'm just curious how they've structured this. Okay, these are all the options. Runs using Node. Oh, this is actually like doing all JavaScript stuff. Yeah, so this is a JavaScript application. Which I think they said the JavaScript stuff runs faster, but you're developing an entire application for stuff that that is often very straightforward to do with shell commands. So for a heavily reused thing like this, that could make sense. I could sort of translate these scripts to workflow. I mean, some of this, well, this actually uses stacked Git, so that's not necessarily going to work with just standard Git things. The other thing we have to work out is this method of doing secrets changes. So I can't necessarily use the exact same files. This is going to be like a whole different project with a few tweaked scripts. No. Where would that go? That was setting end for certain commands. Publish ended up being just a command. Oh, then that gets into GitHub keys, which actually there is some method for GitHub actions to get different keys. So this was using a config file. That would be explicitly... This I might be able to redo in the action. Because we've already kind of figured out how to get, like, step outputs. And then the S3 command would have the blanked parameters. GitHub. So you were also doing a config file. There's probably actually actions for that stuff. That might streamline things a lot. Release drafter by actions. Upload a release asset. Push events to matching V. On push tags. Okay, so yeah, on and push of a V. Tag name github.ref. Well, there might end up being multiple releases per my version is the issue. So we have to do something with that. Check out code, create release. Yeah, so that part of it could be greatly streamlined. So that's create release, and then upload a release asset. Check out code, zip some files, create a release, upload release asset. Secrets.github token. Okay, that's a straightforward way to get that in. Create release, ID release, and oh, so create release automatically saves upload URL for you. Asset path, asset name, asset content type. Yeah, so we could potentially streamline a bit of that stuff. So I need a separate like an OHO build, and then we've got I mean, things like the Ubuntu Docker has like essentially tags for all the different versions, which are going to be very different things. I guess you would never, if you said Ubuntu, you would get something that would do certain similar things, and it would work. If I did different operating system builds of this as tags, that would be a little weird. So we're not necessarily going to have GitHub release as is. We're not necessarily going to have well, upload, we could still throw, let's see, I threw in curl for this stuff. I think curl might be in there by default. At least in the, that's the default environment I my machine. So if we throw in S3, we still have that option. We can move, it might be a different set of keys. So this is like a different set of machines. And actually, did I ever commit the stuff from the other one? Okay, we have not done the tag changes. So there's that. So this is going to be like Windows client, Mac OS X client. This is going to be more like, well, if I put all the scripts in there, it's still like the build env. The only other place to put them would be in the patches repository. So I could actually make a separate repository. Well, no, because on push to the patches repository is one of the times we would build that. We just happen to need to use... I guess I could still make these things... It would just be like separate stuff that happened to be in that patches repository that was otherwise just the patches themselves. It's like they're going to be really close to this. They'll probably even end up with some same files that could essentially be started the same Git hashes. And if I make changes to the build process, I'm probably going to have to be changing it in both places. Oh, right, you had all the source stuff in you, which we didn't need. Uh, all right. GitHub release, we will have reference to elsewhere. That's going to be completely different. Publish build is not going to get called in the Docker file. Actually, we might be able to have that in the... oh, publish is the wrapper to those things. Okay, so your Windows client. I guess as long as S3 command is there, you can still run it through a shell script. Oh, except that might make it easier to pass through the keys. Oh, and then output create release. We shouldn't need that. So the Windows client stuff. Publish, there is not going to do that. Upload client. This stuff we might want to grab just in general as part of the workflow anyway, so we can use it for, we need that for the GitHub release part. And then these could move into the workflow itself. And then Docker file, it's definitely not going to have a run command. Apply patches, build client cross. I guess I do check things out to certain places, but we check them out, we examine all the tags, we check out specific tagged versions. The one thing that used the ref was from on a push that updated that so it had it. If we're running this at other times, then we're not going to have like the ref that triggered it. Well, this stuff is going to set like a data version number and such, I believe. Patch on commit, latest tagged version. I don't know that I currently output that anywhere, so I might need to do more of that. So this actually, yeah, right now we're doing this stuff in the Docker container. Or in the image. So I think all of that run stuff We want to have one image that we use every time we run there. So this will be all the steps we end up doing in the workflow. They'll just get run from the workflow. Now there was something about workders. Some Docker instructions. GitHub sets the working directory path in the GitHub workspace environment variable. It's recommended not to use the workdir instruction. It will mount the GitHub workspace directory on top of anything that was in that location at the Docker image. But whatever path they use, which was like __w or something. That GitHub workspace is the working directory. Find a Docker file. Or, problem is all of these scripts assume that path, and I think a lot of things assume that. Well, I could put cd whole or whole source on top of all my scripts. Just manage the working directory myself. Okay, so Docker file. Actually, I don't reference it. I assume the working directory. Now, what's going to be a bigger problem is probably that. Well, that's the Docker file again. So this might be okay. We fetch latest tagged, which maybe... okay, so there's some implicit references to how things are organized. That's within source. That was working in the directories. So this one, I think we would want to change. So this was, we were in a repository, we went down, we went past source, we went to cross, which is the, so that one we would want to do this way. Are you going to do anything? Yeah. Output metadata. So CD1 life. Oh, part of this is that some of these things, like fetch latest tags, I was running that locally to set up that repository to have all of the data already there when we contexted it. Well, this is a different thing. It's different scripts. So that's just going to be a script in our root. Actually, because I don't know how that associates to the context of the Docker image is the problem. I have no idea where their working directory is. Now, I guess I could do something to move around or link that to somewhere within the working directory. And then build client cross. You're in game source, so one level of down is fine for just about everything. And then where do I put the output file? So we're in one life source, so that's one life source. And we're in game source. Right, yeah. So we're in game source. So we go game source one life. So it's going to put this in the source directory. And then game source patches master. And then in, I almost want a different context here. In this one, workdir is source, so that's probably why we were using it for the files. So if that goes down game into work directory, then yeah, work directory is fine for that. Build client cross. Configure. Dot minor gems, that'd be fine. NGW across, that's be relative to wherever it's at. Fetch latest tags. This is going to be switching between those different things and then switching back when we're done, which I'm not sure it's necessary. So that's the biggest one right now. We need to have we're running our scripts from here, so, or from inside the Docker image. Which, I guess actually makes them not, like if you tried to go back and build an old version of the repository, it would get the current Docker container and things. You wouldn't be able to do that. But we're mostly interested in stuff going forward. All right, so this will get us an image where we don't set workdir. It kind of ends up being whatever, but GitHub will set it. So we build this. It's going to be its own little repository. Because you could do like ohldev, tag Windows, tag OS X. But it's like, if you just got ohldev, what are you going to get? That's a completely different thing. I don't know, it's weird, because in theory you could think of that as a package of related environments. But I don't know if there's anything else that does like different cross compilers in the same repository like that. Oh, and yeah, the config stuff we'll have to work out as we get into it. So we've got like Windows client fetch we won't do. Windows client Client build. Docker build. Latest of that thing. I don't know. Is there examples of that, and what kind of examples would there be that would be that different? Some kind of compiler? Latest by version. I'm guessing this is the Linux version? Docker image to compile node projects. Clang builder. GCC. Yeah, don't do a whole lot of tags. Go does a bunch of different operating systems. Well, just latest. Yeah, I don't know how to... There's a GCC cross. No, it's latest. Cross plane, cross bar. Oh. Well, thanks for stopping in. Actually, I should probably break for lunch soon. But I had some time. I wanted to kind of get started thinking about this. Yeah, that's not... How would you search for that? It's like... It's not actually different operating systems. Using Docker to cross-compile. Probably not. Monday tends to be like grocery shopping and stuff, and then I have a condo board meeting tonight. So that kind of punches a hole in the evening. And then there are probably other things I should do if I had like just time in the afternoon. If I actually did. Cross-compile multi-arch containers. Cross-building generic container. The x86 image in the from instruction. Oh. Want to build an ARM container from a multi-ARM arch rust image. I want to start the ARM container and build from that, not the x86 container. Okay, so there's labels. Still retrieves the x86 image from another architecture. Appropriate base image with architecture. Don't need a run command. Oh. Actually, run commands a container for another architecture. Multi-stage builds to cross-compile. So Docker manifest is experimental. I show the fat manifest. Let's digest the image. Architecture ARM and variant v7. Extract the digest for this image. You can use the from command. Oh, so you can specify an exact image if you wanted to. It's then possible to copy cross-compiled binary into this image. Come from a cross-compiling machine, from the container to multi-stage build. Possible to externalize it through the document build argument arg. Multi-arc cross-build. Producing multi-arc binaries. To produce binaries from multiple architectures. Linux GNU, ARM Linux GNU ABI, on Linux, Apple Darwin, MinG32, multi-arc cross-build, ARM, cross-triple, So using that somewhere in the run environment. Okay, so for specific versions. Oh, so you have a thing. So they actually have one environment that can do cross compilers for all of them. And then they're picking which thing to run out of the container. Maybe. And there's a cross-build script. I mean, I might be able to do something like that where I install multiple things to very specific directories and you be very careful with all of the arguments. That might involve some makefile, tightrope walking. I don't know if I really want to mess with that. But you then only have your specific things. So yeah, I feel like using tags for different things only really makes sense if the untagged version would not give you something really unexpected. And when you've got a Windows compiler and a Mac OS X compiler, that's pretty different. Hold of Windows build. Oh, what am I doing here? Yeah, I did those underscore, and then I tagged them. Well, I called that a whole cross, and I must have done something else for OS X. Huh. Okay, Docker. Old Windows. And it might actually be able to reuse a bunch of layers from, yep. And then actually, the way that's set up, well, no, the scripts are going to be, the built-in scripts are going to be a little bit different. The operating system stuff will be kind of the same. And that's, the built-in script's going to be a little bit of work, but maybe what we've got will kind of work. So there's that. There's going to be an upload script. There's going to be, and then there's a GitHub workflow. All right, so starting into the GitHub workflow stuff is probably a good breaking point. I need to stop for lunch at some point. And once we've got that, we know how to pull down a container and run things in it. So that would be, well, if nothing else, a Friday project. I don't, yeah, I've never quite gotten around to doing an out-of-cycle coding stream, although sometimes I do want to catch up on things. I'm also trying to catch up on some Master Year stuff, though. So that's it for now. Thanks to Epic for the sub, all the other subscribers for supporting me, everybody who hosted me. Let me see if I can find anything to recommend, and I might be getting behind on tracking down other coding people here. This is the one I'm usually on. Oh, wait, there we go. I'm actually in neuroscience and technology, so I didn't see it right away. I do see somebody trying to do some stuff with Godot, so that's some game programming. So if you're looking for someplace cool to hang out, Sandbox Junkies is starting to... They're calling it basic programming. I don't know if that means that they're learning programming or what. But yeah, that's someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye and until next time.